Hey friends, thank you for joining me today. This is level stage phase number 8, I believe. 7 layers of acrylics and 1 layer of oil glaze over everything. So I am into the oil phase, and basically the next step. And let me see, how do I want to put these up? I think I want to put this up first. The next step in my style of painting is dark details in transparent oil. Did you catch that? Details, dark, oil, transparent. There, all of those words. So, but because this painting has two quasi portraits in it, and I do want to keep these fairly abstract. Because it has 2 portraits in it, I want to go ahead and get those nailed down first. So this is Jerry, and just a second ago I decided to do a little bit of drawing with a pencil first. Now, brushes. So I call this blocking in the main faces. I took this picture of Jerry. He sent me this picture especially for his wife, and I took a picture of a photograph they had sitting on the bar of their family at the beach. So of course Jerry wants this to look like him, but he wants it to be as abstract. He has seen my artwork, so he knows my normal proclivities, shall we say. He knows I usually paint fairly abstract, but of course then he said, yeah, but make me look good. No teeth, a little bit of bottom teeth, no teeth at all. So I'm analyzing his smile. So how does Jerry normally smile? No teeth showing, or little teeth, but he wants me to look good. Okay, turns out I have to interrupt this broadcast right here because I got an important phone call coming in. All right, so sorry about that interruption. I think I'm all set for a while now. I should be able to paint without too much interruption. Well, let's get going here. And again, I just want to approximate these faces and work out the exact details in a little while. I don't have to get them all exactly right all at once. I think that's a fairly common approach to portraiture. And there's kind of 2 schools of thought in portraits. One is you measure, and get everything right the first time. Valid concept. But then there's the let the image emerge a little bit more gradually. And I go both ways, but I think today this is one of those let it emerge gradually. For some reason, I feel like I've got a better bead on what Jerry looks like than his wife. So this is fairly easy. It certainly helps that I've met him, never met his wife yet, talked to him several times and so forth. So that certainly helps. Now I'm doing light stuff here as well as dark. So again, it's more like I'm blocking in, as I said, blocking in the faces, violating my typical approach. My typical approach is, at this point, I do just dark details. Let's do some color in Jerry's face. Yes, the chin doesn't have to be quite that pointed. A little bit more of an ear over here. And again, a little bit more teeth. I'll come back and touch up some of this later, maybe give him a little bit of an opening in his eyes. Jerry definitely has blue eyes. I'm glad I can see that in one of these photographs. Okay, that's good enough for now. Now let's talk about his wife. Again, a little bit more of a challenge because a couple things. One is I'm changing the angle and being really dangerous with her. So here's the photographs that I got for her. Okay. Now, pencils again. Let's just do some pencils. I think I'm actually going more from this photograph than this one. Again, I don't want to get into a full-on portrait in this painting. This is not like a wedding painting, I feel like, where, you know, it has to be a real dead-on likeness of the... This has to be a likeness, but it has to be a likeness in fairly abstract style. So, does that make sense? Bring this top lip definitely comes to a point here. That's big. Little smile line here. You know what? I need to draw a lateral middle down there. Yeah, so we're seeing more of this. Saying much, am I? Too busy thinking. I told my client that, of course, I'll send them pictures of my painting, but when I go to deliver it, I'll take my paints with me, because I have a sense that he's going to be a little bit fussy, even though the arrangement, the deal, the agreement was
that these would not be full-on, that they'd be abstract. I have a feeling he's going to be a little bit fussy, especially about his wife, which of course is understandable. Just because women tend to be a little bit fussier about how they appear than men do. Is that a sexist remark? I don't know, but it's true. I don't think there's a whole lot of argument there. But now let's do some dark, a little bit of dark. So anytime that you're doing dark painting in acrylics or oils, and again, in my opinion, you achieve that dark effect by using transparent color. I have a 10-11 minute video on YouTube where I describe the why of that at considerable length. It's called Dan Nelson Mud, or maybe it's Avoiding Mud. But anyway, if you do go to YouTube and do a search for Dan Nelson Mud, you will find my dissertation on the subject there. Now, let me add that just somebody left a comment. I haven't gotten back to it yet. Somebody left a comment on that video a couple weeks ago where they took me quite to task, saying, no, that is not what mud is at all. Mud is when you have layers of wet paint, and the new layer picks up alla prima painting, and the new layer picks up the old stuff underneath. And I haven't responded yet, but I will tell you how I am, because the person who said that sounded quite intelligent. It sounded like they knew what they were talking about. And I find that quite fascinating. I think it's a study in sociology more than anything else, because I'm not a new artist. I've been around the block a few times. Been an artist in the Midwest, in the Southwest, Texas, and in the east of the United States. And in all of those areas, I will tell you that all the artists I talk to in all three of those zones, mud is not what this guy said. So it makes me think that somewhere in the world or somewhere in the country, there actually does exist an enclave of sorts, a subculture of the art community that calls mud something completely different from the rest of us. I don't think the person who made the comment was ignorant or wrong. I was just like, wow, I thought that's fascinating. No, there's no way. I've never heard this person's definition of mud, and yet I'm sure somebody told him quite authoritatively that that's what it was. Just fascinating. So there you go. And I'm not going to. But mud has to do with the in my opinion, mud is the misuse or result, the product of the result of the misuse of opacity. The misuse. It's what happens when you use white to create a dark color. And if you're paying any attention to what I just said, you're going, what? Use white to create a dark color? And that's exactly right. That's what mud comes from. It comes from getting dark using opaque paint. And you make opaque paint by adding white to, or yellow ochre, mostly. Anyway, so here I am then following my rules. Now, of course, every rule can be broken. Yes, yes, yes. In fact, there is that particular rule about getting dark with transparent and light with opaque. The biggest exception to that is, in fact, in the world of portraiture, where in portraits you can, often must or should, get dark with little bits of opaque, breaking the rule. Because my rule is you get dark with transparent, light with opaques. And it's basically just learning how to paint in the world of transparent color, transparent paint. And in that world, You get dark using transparents, light using opaques. Okay, the exception is in the realm of portraiture. I think I'm going to let, again, I think that's just Jerry's, a little bit of Jerry's shirt. Now let's do a little bit of his wife's blouse, maybe arm, and I'm almost entirely making up. I do not have a picture of this part of her anatomy at all. Yeah, no, I do not. I'm glad to know she wears red, though. That was an important. I actually left a message with Jerry a couple weeks ago saying, what color does your wife wear? If he's a typical guy, he doesn't have any idea. I don't know. But I got this portrait, so that answered that question for me. All right, now let's move on just to the rest of the painting, doing a few dark details. So I have reference here. Yeah, let's focus on these shelves. So the theory is, and again, this is going to get a little bit too monotonous for you guys, for me to broadcast too much. So I'll just do some. But one of the things I'm asking myself in this stage, in this phase of the painting process, wow, that light is doing me really bad. You know what? I'm actually going to paint with that lighting for a few minutes here. Probably better for you too, isn't it? One of the things I'm asking myself at this stage is, are all my darks in? Theoretically, now of course the theory, what is real and what is theory, of course can be two different things, but theoretically, at the end of this stage right here, all of my darks are done. Now, in reality, sometimes I need to come back later in the painting process and add more dark, because I'll be painting along in the final stage and then go, oops, this needs to be darker right here. No, I'm not, by the way, I'm not liking this color. Let me change that. It's too blue. Yeah, I'm actually going to wipe some of this off. I started out thinking cool would be okay, but then the more I did it, the more I went, nah, it's not coming okay. I was not planning to erase all this, but I'm changing my mind. Again, very rare, hardly ever do what you see me doing right there, just erasing. But it is good. I'm glad that you're able to see that, in fact, you can erase. So I think now, having started out one direction, I think I want warm in these shadows. Even though academically, if the light is warm, the shadow should be cool. And even though in the photograph they are cool, when I got it on the painting, it just wasn't working. So again, class, what's the rule there? We always paint with our eyes. You don't paint by formula. You don't paint by rules. You paint with your eyeballs. You never stop thinking visually. So there's no rule in the world that trumps what your eyes are looking at. Okay? No rule, ever. Your eyes are always the final authority. And so I was doing some warm stuff, some cool stuff up there, and it just wasn't looking right. So, ooh. And again, this is not, the painting's not done. Like the old baseball adage, it ain't over till it's over. With painting, painting's not done till it's done, and it's not done until it's done. Sorry, no, it's not done until the final edit layer is finished. This is not the final edit layer. And I'm saying all this because I still experience, when I hang around with students, I still experience their anguish. They want their painting to look perfectly good, sort of at every stage of the painting process, which is not a good impulse. No, let it look bad, so to speak. I don't really mean bad, but it's okay for it to look unfinished. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the abstraction level, if you will, of that. Now I'm also, maybe you can tell here, I'm not doing any light, of course, unless I cheat. Everything I'm doing in this level, in this layer, is dark. But I am doing little hints of local color. Just picked up this brush, which actually has some light in it. So I'm cheating there. I'm actually doing a little bit of light because I had a dirty brush. That's my excuse. What's yours? Okay, so I think you've seen enough of this. I don't need to bore you too much. Let me tell you, I have at least 3 layers to go, though, and those are very important layers. Let me refresh your memory for those or let you know for you newcomers. I have 3 layers to go. They're very, very distinct, very predictable. I'm not lost. I'm not painting willy-nilly, thank goodness. I can always change up my technique, but I'm never lost. Like, oh, what am I supposed to do next? Okay, so next layer is going to be the fuzz layer. Fuzz, local color, soft edges, translucent. Then after that, I'm going to do pencils, and then after that is the final edit, or which is mostly light, opaque highlights. Okay, so 3 layers to go after this one, and then theoretically the painting will be finished and beautiful. I'll bring you back later. We'll find out together if it's actually going to be beautiful or not. Okay? Thanks so much for watching. Be back in a while.